Okay, now I'm going to show you how to make a rough sketch of the muscles of the anterior of the neck to help you make a spatial memory of where these muscles are found. Okay, so we're going to start here with the digastric muscles. And so there's a digastric muscle belly that comes off of the temporal bone down to the hyoid. And so this will be the posterior belly of the digastric. And then there's a belly that comes off of the mandible. And so this would be our anterior belly. Okay, so that's the digastric. And so you can see the digastric has two bellies, a posterior belly and an anterior belly. And so that's where its name comes from. Digastric means two bellies. And so I'm just going to draw the one that's on the right side here, although there is one also on the left. In order to make space for other muscles, I will just draw one for each side of the body. And so there's the digastric on the right side, connecting between the skull and the hyoid bone. We'll help to position the hyoid bone by elevating the hyoid bone. Next, we're going to look at the omohyoid. And so the omohyoid is going to originate from the scapula, so the shoulder is what omo means. And so coming from the scapula, from the shoulder to the hyoid, here we have the omohyoid. And so you can see that the beginning, omo, this means shoulder. And the suffix hyoid gives us the insertion. And so lots of these muscles inserting onto the hyoid are going to follow that pattern. And so let's next look at the sternohyoid. So the sternohyoid, that's going to come from the sternum all the way up to the hyoid. And so here's our sternohyoid. And so just like the omohyoid, the name sternohyoid tells us the origin and insertion of this muscle. The sternohyoid originates from the manubrium of the sternum and inserts onto the hyoid bone, and it will work with the omohyoid in order to depress the hyoid bone. Okay, let's look at the sternothyroid. So the sternothyroid is going to originate from the manubrium as well, but it's going to insert onto cartilage of the larynx called the thyroid shield, the thyroid cartilage of the larynx. And so this will have the action of depressing the thyroid cartilage, depressing the larynx. This is the thyrohyoid. I'm sorry, sternothyroid. So we have a sternohyoid and a sternothyroid. Now last we have one extending from the thyroid cartilage up to the hyoid, and this will be thyrohyoid. Okay. And now we have another muscle coming to elevate the hyoid. This muscle will come down here from the temporal bone. And so this is the styloid process of the temporal bone. And so this muscle is stylohyoid. Stylohyoid comes from the styloid process of the temporal bone and inserts onto the hyoid bone. Okay, so we've got the digastric that comes from the temporal and the mandible down to the hyoid. We've got the omohyoid coming from the scapula up to the hyoid, the sternohyoid, sternothyroid, thyrohyoid, and now the stylohyoid. The last muscle I want to show you here in this drawing is superficial to the rest of these. I'll draw the right. This is the sternocleidomastoid. And so let's draw in the sternocleidomastoid. I'll have to lay it over, and so I think I'll actually draw the left side and draw it over the words that I put for sternohyoid there. We'll just move that out of the way for now and write it up here. Sternocleidomastoid. Hyoid, and now we're coming up from the sternum with this muscle, and also up from the clavicle. This is our sternocleidomastoid, and it'll pass superficial to the rest of these muscles and insert on the mastoid, the mastoid process of the temporal bone. And so here is our sternocleidomastoid. Okay. So the sternocleidomastoid, it originates from the sternum and the clavicle. It inserts on the mastoid process of the temporal bone, and it's going to have the action of flexing or rotating the head at the neck. It's pulling down on the mastoid process, and so if both the left and the right sternocleidomastoid contract, then we'll flex the neck. Whereas if just one sternocleidomastoid contracts, you'll rotate ipsilateral. You'll rotate to the same side as the contracting muscle. So that should complete the drawing.